Welcome to the French Drayman channel. I'm your host, Robert Sherwood. We're going to do a video for the contractors out there. And if you're a DIYer or if you're a sub of the channel and you enjoy just seeing what we're up to, we'll bring you along for the ride. So this is a vacuum excavator. And the reason why I wanted to do a video for the contractors, a lot of guys are wondering, is it worth spending, $75,000, $85,000, on up, $100,000 for a vacuum excavator? And I believe, yes, it is worth it. We invested in a vacuum excavator. I'm going to show you guys how simple it is to use, but I do want to talk about it does take some time to set it up. So we went ahead and we put these mats down. We have these mats, not plywood, and we backed that vacuum excavator on the grass as long as you have it on these mats. We also purchased extra suction line. So we got 80 feet of suction line out. We're going to show you guys what setup's all about. We already got the machine in place. We bring the machine down to the site, set it up. You got to figure, to use a vacuum excavator, it's going to save the contractor a lot of headache, because if you know you have green electric boxes right where you want to dig, if you know that you're going to have fiber optics, the electrical main, all the communications in the neighborhood, if you know that you're going to be digging over top of them, in between them, all around them, and it's just a game of chance whether or not you get off that job without hitting a utility main. And I know every contractor out there he's got his knuckles dragging on the ground trying to make ends meet. The last thing you want is to hit a utility and get that bill in the mail. We've all been there too many times. The last fiber optic cable we hit was $7,000. So I do think the investment is worth it in this machine. Having said that, I want to make sure that all the contractors know you don't just buy a $75,000, $100,000 machine and keep charging the exact same amount for the job that you're doing. So if you're on a job and you're going to have to charge the homeowner, say $4,500 for just a number to work with. That's just a number I pulled out of the sky. And you know that you got to come with your vacuum excavator. You got to bring the 80 feet of discharge line. You got to fill the tank, prep the machine, fuel the machine, get it to the site, set it up. Setup takes time. And then your guys are going to have to use a vacuum excavator to unearth the utilities. That is a charge. You have to charge for that. When you see these big green electric boxes and you know you're going to have to dig right through, this spider web of utilities, you don't want to have to sit there with your excavator picking, kind of like picking through it, hoping you're not going to hit a utility. Now remember, AT&T and their fiber optics, their communication lines, they say that you have to hand dig 4 feet to either side of their markings. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I can't make money doing that. So we're going right through this with a vacuum excavator. We're going to suck up all the dirt. So what's happening here is we have a wand that just blasts, the water, just really hits the dirt hard, blasts with water. Here we are breaking through clay with pressure, just water under pressure. We have pressurized water breaking right through the clay pan, and then we have this giant vacuum that's just sucking up the slurry, just getting rid of all that clay. The machine is truly amazing. Once your crew is familiar with it, it goes silky smooth. There's a few things that you have to learn. It just takes time. Look at this. Look at how we're exposing that giant 2-inch main. That is a big sprinkler main in this complex. And you can see there's utilities under it. It's right parallel with our trench. Now, how else are we going to do something like this? You can't make money if you have some guys over here on, some small rounded shovels that are really dull and they're just chipping away at the concrete trying to expose utilities and big sprinkler mains. That's not economical. That's not going to save you money. It's going to cost you a lot of money, and you're still going to cut the insulation on a utility line. If you hit fiber optics, it doesn't take much to damage fiber optics. I mean, if you just nick it, there's usually 70 wires in a fiber optic cable. So it's pretty insane. All you got to do is damage one. But as I was saying, for round numbers, if you're charging for a job like this $4,500, and then it just so happens that their sump pump discharge line goes right through this highway of utilities, and then you have to go through setup, fueling, prep, filling a tank, getting this machine there, setting it up, and then the time to operate it. You have to charge for that. There has to be a charge for that. I'm going to help you guys out. You charge about $1,000. So if this was a $4,500 job, it's now $5,500. That's what it's going to take to do it right. Honestly, that's the only way to go about doing something like this. If you got $75,000 to $100,000 into the machine, you figure this is a little timely setup and then breakdown. And then there's, taking this vacuum excavator back to your yard, dumping the slurry out. What's nice is this tank actually dumps. It actually hinges up and dumps. And I'm going to do a video on that to show you the cleaning process, because you know what? It ain't that bad. Everybody, just you hate coming in after a long day, hard work, and now all of a sudden you got to clean out this machine. You don't want to leave it. You don't want to let it sit. You want to take care of it right away. So we're going to show you all that, because it really isn't that bad. You just got to be in the mindset, and you just got to know that you have to do it. So about the only thing that can happen that's a real pain in the butt is if a rock the size of the hose gets stuck in the hose. So the guy's got a rock stuck right now, and they're going through the hoses trying to find where that rock's at. You can reverse the pressure. You can blow the rock out too. And if that don't work, well, you're doing what they're doing. You're doing a breakdown of the suction line until you get that rock free and clear of the suction line. So it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. And on this particular job, it happened one time. If you were in an area that had a lot of cobblestone, it just happened to be they were that size where it was going to be a problem. Now that sucks. Yeah, you do have to, work carefully, look for the cobble rocks, pull them out if you can. Just once you run this machine and you know what to look for, it goes silky smooth. But as I was saying, to charge $1,000 to open up a trench through utilities, you're covering your man hours. I mean, as you can see, there's 4 men involved here. We got 3 right here. We got one that's on the machine. 80 feet away are the guys. They're communicating. They're talking. They're hollering back and forth. There's not too many switches on the machine. That's not going to be an issue. The levers and knobs kept to a minimum. Very user-friendly. Trust me, regardless of the skill level of your crew, they can run this without a problem. Now, my guys, they're very clever. They have ran a lot of power equipment. But again, they adapted to this so quickly, it wasn't an issue. So we're exposing big 2-inch sprinkler mains, and we have big main for the electric. We have communication mains. Without this vacuum excavator, this job would have been a nightmare. We probably couldn't have gotten the sump pump discharge line in without damaging something. Sure, we for sure would have damaged the sprinkler main. That's the least of my worries. It's when you hit utilities and communications and you take out communications or some sort of utility and you affect the entire complex. It's kind of a black eye for the company. If you can come in here, work around utilities, do it smart, do it swift, get in, get out, do a good job, put everything back together again, and not disrupt the people that are working from home by taking out their internet, things like that. See, that's the goal. You want to come in, do a good job, minimize the amount of headache and stress on the crew, on the company. And I really feel this piece of equipment does just that. By having a vacuum excavator, I mean, it reduces the stress. Normally, we would be digging through this area without a vacuum excavator before we bought our vacuum excavator. And you're just hoping to get through that day without having to, deal with calling the office and say, yeah, we hit a utility. We hit a communication line. You're going to have to call them. You're going to have to bring them in, get this repaired. But you can see just how beautiful this worked. You've seen all the utilities. You've seen everything there. I mean, really, really nice. Cut that trench right through there, exposed all the utilities. They're just all dangling down in that trench. We're going to be able to put this sump pump discharge line through here with no issues. You can see the electrical main, the communication main, and look at all that stuff. So, again, a beautiful piece of equipment. Contractors, save up, get it.